everyone, my name is Holly and welcome to something I will be doing a little bit different this year. So the typical booktuber video is the monthly TBR where we show you all of the books that we plan to read that month. But this year, I want to very highly focus on new releases. I just want to be the best booktuber I can possibly be, which means reading new releases that I get the opportunity to read early to let you guys know if they're worth reading or not. So I really want to do upcoming releases videos, and I want to do them every 2 months, so this is the first one. I will be talking about January and February releases that I'm really excited about and that I will also be reading. So I'm treating these videos as my TBRs as well, so 2 very exciting videos mashed into one. And I'll still be doing my wrap-ups normally as well, but they'll be full of new books. So let's go ahead and start with the books that are releasing in January, and that first one is The Bards Tale by Brian D. Anderson. This is the start of a new fantasy series that releases on January 28th, and it's actually one of my most anticipated books of the entire year. Actually, by the time this video goes up, I'll be currently reading it, or I have finished it. Follow me on Goodreads and you'll know. First off, this is one of the most enticing book covers I have ever seen, and they just recently revealed book 2, and boy, they deserve to be in a museum. Mona Lisa better watch out. This epic fantasy features magic and music and assassinations and betrayal. We're following 2 perspectives throughout the narrative, the first one being Lem, who is a very talented musician, and the second one being Marianne, who is his betrothed, and she is the daughter of a winemaker. So 2 very interesting professions within a fantasy world, and I like it. All seems pleasant until one day a mysterious stranger walks through the barrier, and the barrier is this magical force that keeps away all fabled magic and evil, and the stranger prophesizes that a certain character will lead the whole world to utter annihilation. I'm honestly really surprised that Tor isn't hyping this one up as much as like Gideon and the Ruin of Kings, which I both hated, by the way, so it might be a good thing that they're not like smothering it with hype. That's my job. Up next, I have The Shadow Saint by Gareth Hanrahan. I was actually never able to get to the first book to the sequel, The Gutter Prayer. It's kind of part of my shame TBR from Orbit, but I do want to try and get to both of them this month. It's a mix of dark fantasy and urban fantasy, and it takes place in the city called Gwyrden, and we're following a trio of thieves who just barely survive a sabotaged heist. At the same time, a divine conspiracy is brewing within the city, involving many other factions with their own agenda. I've seen a lot of people compare this to Foundry Side by Robert Jackson Bennett, which I loved, so I'm going into the series with very high expectations. Up next, I have a YA fantasy actually that I've been keeping my eye on, and that's Scavenge the Stars by Tara Smith. This comes out January 7th, and it's a gender-swapped retelling of Count of Monte Cristo, and that sounds so intriguing, and it's supposed to be a planned duology. Hopefully it stays that way. YA authors tend to like to extend their series for some reason, and I find that to be a mistake. Really quick, I want to put up these aesthetic boards that the author posted to Twitter because I find them really intriguing, and it really gives me this dark fantasy vibe. Also, I really like the random chaotic bisexual thrown into the mix. This story is set in a city called Moray, where the children bear their parents' debts. We're following our main character, Amaya, who was sold to a debtor ship to pay off her father's debts, and for years she's been trying to save enough money to pay it off. And she's really close to doing that thanks to a great find when she rescues a mysterious man named Boone who claims that he's rich. She got herself a sugar daddy. Definitely romance here, but honestly I'm reading this book because of what it claims to have, a historical setting with European influence. And then I have Song of a Risen God by R.A. Salvatore. I really wanted to mention this because it does come out January 28th, and I might not get to it until February or March because I need to read the first 2 books first, but like I said, I just really wanted to mention it because I'm excited for this series and I want to binge read them. I've actually been really excited about the series mainly because of R.A. Salvatore having worked on one of my favorite older video games, Kingdoms of Amalur. So I'd love just a taste of his storytelling again because I already know it's great. It follows a girl who loses her parents and she is left to fend for herself among a vicious tribe of barbarians. It honestly sounds like a perfect winter read and I love it. And the final book coming out in January that I'm pretty excited about is Nameless Queen. It takes place in a city where there are 3 classes. There are the royals, who are like royalty, the legals, who are like the middle class, and then the nameless, who have absolutely zero human rights. Well, when the ruler of the crown dies, all they have to do is speak the name of the person they want to inherit the throne, and they also transfer the tattoo that they have to the person as well. Well, our protagonist is a nameless and a street urchin, and one day she sees that the tattoo suddenly has appeared on her, and she's now queen. So even though the synopsis really gives us like a big part of the plot line, I'm still interested in the politics and the drama of it all, so we will see. So now let's move on to the February releases that I will be reading, and there are a lot of them. The first one I have here, I actually have a physical copy of, and that is the Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood. I actually haven't shown this off at a book haul yet, but Tor sent this along with a really cool promotional package that came with a stone necklace, incense that kind of smell like lotion, and even an incense holder, which is really cool. And it's all matching like the fantasy aesthetic, and it was really nice of them to send that to me. To really simplify this amazing sounding synopsis, we're following an orc priestess who is supposed to be sacrificed to her god. She runs away with a wizard, becomes an assassin, and then goes questing for this ancient object instead, while her god is chasing after her for revenge. That sounds freaking fantastic. It sounds like the ultimate Holy Grail quest, but with orcs. I hope it's good, and we'll find out very soon. I actually have a bad rep when it comes to orc books. The last two I read, I really didn't like, so hopefully this one will break my orc curse. The next book that I am very excited to be reading is The Wolf of Oren-Yaro by K.S. Veloso. This one releases on February 18th, and it's a debut novel from a new voice. The story revolves around a queen who is known as the Bitch Queen. In fact, that's what the series is called, Chronicles of the Bitch Queen. That sounds so badass, and I love saying it. She is a queen of a divided nation, and she must unite her people even though they all hate her. Even one of the quotes is very interesting, and it says, "I murdered a man and made my husband leave the night before they crowned me." Oh, this sounds so good. It sounds like it's gonna have all the qualities that I typically enjoy in a fantasy. A strong female lead, and it even has very pronounced touches of Asian culture. I have a feeling it's going to be dark and brutal and no bullshit, straight to the action. Sounds like something I'm totally in the mood in. The next book is The Last Smile in Sunder City by Luke Arnold. This is normally a book that I would not pick up, but I gave a few books that are similar to this a chance last year, so I'm willing to do it again. Apparently this reads like a classic, and it's set in a world where magic has disappeared and the supernatural creatures are struggling to survive. Technology has stopped working, factories have stopped running, dragons fall from the sky, and even elves are starting to age quicker. This book has such a fairy tale vibe to it, and it totally reminds me of The Wolf Among Us, the comics and the video game. We're following a character named Fetch who is trying to atone for what he did. What the heck did he do? I don't know, but that's definitely the catch, and I'm honestly really excited to read this, and I will be. I have two more books left, and up next is another one that I normally wouldn't pick up, and that is A Witch in Time by Constance Sayers. This is a debut novel that releases on February 11th about a young witch who is cursed to relive a doomed love affair through many lifetimes. This is a mix of time travel, romance, fantasy, and obviously a very large part of it is historical because it takes place in 1895. I'm mostly intrigued where the heck the fantasy element comes in because I just have no idea. Our main character Helen is set up on a blind date when suddenly a man from her past shows up. And shit goes down, I'm guessing. This book is being published by Red Hook, who also published The 10,000 Doors of January, The Wolf and the Whale. So this publishing company has a special place in my heart. And they always surprise me, so I will definitely be reading this, and I kind of have really high hopes for it. And the final book I have here to talk about today is a physical one, and that is All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace, which is a debut, and honestly the premise sounds pretty cool. But I'm also not going to talk about it too much because I feel like this is a book that pretty much everyone is talking about right now. I've already seen it everywhere. The imprint is definitely hyping it up. It involves mermaids, pirates, magic, and apparently a lot of gore, which reminds me a little bit of To Kill a Kingdom, which I just read recently. The only thing that has me a little worried is the romance, but it is YA, and romance is unavoidable in that section. So those are 10 new upcoming fantasies that are releasing in January and February. Tell me down below if any of these have caught your interest, or if you're interested in any others that I didn't mention. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, because it helps me out so much, and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. I upload videos every week. Follow me on Instagram at HollyHeartsBooks and on Twitter at HollyNiece, and until we meet again, happy reading.